Well, in California, voters will weigh in on Proposition 3, which threatens to fundamentally alter the definition of marriage in California. What are the implications of this measure, and how would it fundamentally alter marriage in the state? Joining me now to discuss this is Jonathan Keller, President and CEO of the California Family Council. Jonathan, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Hi, Tony. Always good to be with you and all your listeners.
So, Jonathan, they're saying this is no big deal. It's just, we just need to take this out of the Constitution because it's no longer valid. Tell us about Proposition 3 and walk us through what this is all about.
Well, thank you, Tony. First off, I'll just give everybody a little bit of a history lesson. For those of you who are newer to the program or you maybe haven't been involved in the issue for so long, it's hard to believe, but it was actually 16 years ago in 2008. Not only was that the year Barack Obama was elected to the presidency for the first time, but that was also the year that California, of all places, actually voted to enshrine marriage between one man and one woman into our state constitution. It was a narrow vote at the time. It was only about 52% to 48%. But miraculously, by God's grace, voters in California said that marriage was between a man and a woman. And if you can believe it, at that time, even Barack Obama, when he was on stage with Pastor Rick Warren, even he said that he thought marriage was between a man and a woman. But sadly, over the last 16 years, we've seen the American public change their views on this after a relentless pressure campaign from the media and the culture. And now you are seeing our state legislature trying to, as you said, Tony, in their words, clean up this section of the Constitution. But it's really not about what they are removing from the Constitution. It's true that Prop 3 would remove the definition of marriage as being between a man and a woman, but it's really about what they are putting into the Constitution. The fact that they are changing this and removing that language and inserting marriage now as a so-called fundamental right. Well, look, we do believe that people should, generally speaking, have a right to get married. Mothers and fathers are necessary, and marriage is a good for society. But by not putting any definition of marriage into the Constitution, not only is it further enshrining a false view of marriage as between two men or two women, Tony, there's no definition on the age of people who can get married under this proposition. There's no definition on the genetic relationship between people who can get married. It could be close siblings or even parent and child who can get married. But I think most crucially and the most likely outcome, there is no definition on this, or restriction on this to the number of people who can get married. And I think that polygamy is the next way station on this train of the sexual revolution.
Jonathan, this is not at all far-reaching in terms of your description here. We're actually seeing this in the states as it pertains to abortion. They're putting abortion into the state constitutions. This is different. It's not statutory. And they're putting it in as a fundamental right. A fundamental right cannot be restricted or limited to a certain set of people. I mean, if it is a fundamental right, then everyone has the ability. Our concern over the abortion issue is that this will eliminate, not our concern, our understanding of the way it's written, this will remove parental notification laws, because if it's a right, everyone has access to it. So if we're talking about marriage, and there's no definition in it, this is a Trojan horse being placed into the California state constitution, is it not?
Oh, absolutely, Tony. And the thing that's remarkable about this, I've done a lot of interviews with mainstream media outlets up and down the state. And the remarkable thing is that every time I do an interview, it's never a debate. They never want to actually have the proponents of God's design for marriage do a direct face-to-face or one-on-one debate with the proponents of this measure. But whenever I'm doing these, videos that they interview me and then they'll interview usually Senator Scott Wiener from San Francisco, whenever they ask him about the issue of polygamy, his response is very telling. He always says, look, polygamy is already illegal now. Or he'll say something like, it's illegal under state law. Well, Tony, Constitution 101, we know that a state statute is subject to the law, ultimate law of the state, which is the Constitution.
Right.
And we know that if this passes, it is going to open Pandora's box. Already, Tony, we've seen just this year, not something that even California Family Council has reported on. National Public Radio and local public radio has said that the cities of Berkeley and Oakland have already passed new non-discrimination protections for what they call diverse family structures. That means more than two individuals, not just a mother and a father, but more than two individuals in a parenting relationship. And Tony, I think that as early as January, if this passes, you're going to see those polyamorous relationships begin to petition the state government for legal protection.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they're just waiting, and that's what this is, an advanced party, so to speak, going out ahead, preparing the way for just that. Jonathan Keller, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the great work you do there in the state of California.
Thank you, Tony. And everyone can find out more at proposition3.net.